put them in a certain order here because I wanted to kind of get a feel. And I want to start off, and everyone in the chat too, put whether you feel like they're hot or cold. Hot obviously means that they're heating up a little bit, kind of things are heading up in the right direction. Cold, things are heading down, and they need to fix it, and they need to turn it around quick.
I'm putting an emoji in there.
All right, love it. Let's start off with this one though. Broder, I'll go to you first. Dan Campbell. Dan, I want Dan. I want to hear what you have to say. This is interesting.
There's things he can improve. He's had some things go wrong these last couple weeks too. But I'm going to put him at hot. Like I think this team. I'm confident in this team because of him. And that is more of a feeling. I don't know if I have anything tangible to back that up. But there's just this. It's a confidence that I have in him, and I know the players feel the same way. They were talking about it today, on camera and off camera. So I'm going to put that as hot. I think this is the right coach at this moment in time to make some changes.
You know, I like the way you took that. I'm gonna say he's kind of warm and hot as well, just because
kind of warm and kind of hot.
The last couple weeks, I felt like I keep saying that they like when they started 1-6, he turned it around. When they started 1-10, he turned it around. And I keep saying like these stretches, like luckily this stretch wasn't 1-6 and it was just 4-2. But I still trust the man to turn this thing around.
Do you say this is
full-heartedly?
Pretty good comment from Shane Daniel. Do you agree he's low on the list of problems?
Very.
Yeah.
I think if anything, he's on the list of helping fix those problems.
Yeah, 100%.
And he does a really good job of doing it. I wanted to bunch these guys up together, and I think it could happen because I'm going to go first with this one. I went coordinators in general. Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, and I'm going to go cold. They're both, and I think this isn't a secret. We've done a lot of segments on them the last week. Aaron Glenn, even when we're talking about Ben Johnson, I see in the chat people chatting it up about Aaron Glenn. He seems to be one of the hotter topics in Detroit right now. Maybe he shouldn't be, I don't know, but this defense has been pretty bad. I'm going to go cold with the coordinators. Even with Ben Johnson, I think he's been struggling a little bit. That's been in the past. That 8-2 stretch, 7-2 stretch, your strengths were Ben Johnson. So that's been an issue the last couple of weeks. I would like to be able to do a temperature check next week and say the opposite for these guys.
That'd be amazing.
And this is a big chance for that. Even Aaron Glenn, if he can find a way to turn this around and hold this Denver team under 20 points, I think that's like, okay, we're making improvements here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go cold for now for these guys. I'm just going to be brutal honest with that.
I'm with you.
I would hope everyone around here says cold as well.
Yeah, whatever they feel, they feel.
Someone says hot, let's have a conversation. You step into my office. You say hot.
Entitled to your own opinions.
Besides that one.
I'm going to go with cold, too.
That's nuts.
I'm going to go with cold, too. Because Ben Johnson hasn't had his best couple games, it doesn't alleviate any of the problems of the defense, which they have their problems. They aren't as bad. They don't get as much credit for doing the good things as they get hated for the bad things, but they haven't been that great. The offense now hasn't been great, so I'm putting them as cold.
All right, I love that. This is going to be an interesting one, and I think maybe this is a consensus as well. Jared Goff.
He's cold. Yeah, I mean, he's got to be cold now.
I had to put him on the list because we didn't. People were going to be like, oh, did you put him on the list because you don't want to talk about how he's cold?
They'll still find a way.
He's cold.
Yeah, he's cold. I mean, you can't say he's not.
I
don't think we've said anything close to that these last couple of weeks. Optimism is different.
This is the most colds we've already had ever since in this segment.
This is as cold. Have we had it? I guess Dan Campbell's hot. Yeah, but Jared Goff, this is as cold as he's probably been since he came to Detroit, or since that first year, maybe the first couple of games last year. So cold.
Yeah. Freezing cold. Hey,
he moved to Detroit. Terrible. He came from Cali to Detroit for a reason. He wanted to be cold.
All right.
That man's cold.
Cold.
We need him to heat up.
You think so? You say cold?
Oh yeah. Next one here on offense. We've got a couple more on offense. Next one I have here is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now,
he's cold.
Preface this one. He's had 2 bad games. Don't think it's been his fault. So I don't want to like
Bears, yes. Saints, no.
He was dropping the ball.
He did drop. Well, do you guys remember the drop a couple Thanksgiving when it went through his hands? Almost was a pick six.
I never seen him drop that many passes like ever in his career.
Yeah,
and he did like terrible this week.
Is that because of the Jared Goff stuff?
No,
though?
No.
Is it because
he had a bad game.
He just couldn't catch.
Dude, we're not saying Amon-Ra had a bad game. We're not blaming it on Jared Goff.
No, Nick's reading my mind over there.
What'd you say?
Is it because the spiral have been cooking up these heavyweight reels all week, and they always talk about the spiral. Do you think it's lazy, brother?
No.
Yeah.
Do you have a football
what's your
in
take
here?
on that?
Is there a football in the room here? I want to throw you a ball head to end.
However he throws the ball early in the season, it got to them. They're the leading offense in the league. So
yeah, but if he's starting to throw the ball worse because of the offensive line, because the next one we have here is the offensive line, which I have right now, Colt.
Yes, but real quick, Amon-Ra St. Brown to me is cold. He had a bad game against the Bears.
Fair.
He didn't have that bad a game against the Saints. He just had 2 catches for 49 yards, but they locked him up. But that's Ben Johnson had an answer for that. They spread it out and they did fine. But just from this Bears game, I would put him at warm if this wasn't maybe his worst game as a Lion. I'm not worried at all about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like 0. He's going to be hot next week, I'm sure. But this game was not his best.
We're spoiled.
Let's just go with him. I'm going to go with him.
Touchdown too.
Just lukewarm.
Against the Saints.
Yeah.
Lukewarm.
Okay.
I'm going to go warm.
I'm not going to be mad at you for that.
Like Jared, for 4 weeks, he's had 9 turnovers. Amon-Ra, like he's dropped a couple passes, but like he scored, like you say, he scored a touchdown versus Saints, big play. And he has struggled, but he's been a guy where it's like he typically doesn't do this. Jared, we've seen it in the past. The coordinator, Aaron Glenn, we've seen this consistently.
Just spoiled.
Yeah.
I think it's more so. I'll make it quick. Like I'm not used to him dropping those passes like those, double coverage, tight, thread the needle passes. Like they were there. Maybe it was cold outside. He didn't get the ball that much that game either, though. So he might not have been locked in. But I mean, he just had a couple bad weeks, but he'll be all right because we just
think he bounces back.
We're just spoiled fans because he's so perfect almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I think he bounces back as well when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go warm for him. I'm going to go Luke like right in the middle.
You know how pissed he must be having that performance in Chicago with his brother?
Oh, my gosh. I haven't watched the podcast, but I saw him post on his story. Did you see on the story?
I didn't, but I saw the title of it. It says worst episode ever, like in quotes.
Don't watch.
Yeah, he put out his story. He was like, don't watch this. Don't click this link. You don't need to. Move on. Or something like that. It was hilarious. But he basically was like, just don't watch what I showed you this week.
Yeah.
Next one here. Offensive line, I think we can say Cole.
Yes.
And that's, I think,
and it's similar to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Our expectations are so high.
Yeah.
They didn't have like
I think
a
that's
terrible game, but they played bad enough where we just expect so much. So cold.
Can we admit though that's probably just injury based? That's all.
Yeah, that makes it harder to play a good game. I still think Taylor Decker didn't play well. He normally is a guy you can rely on.
Injury though, back injury.
Oh, right. So then I guess yeah.
Because if you think about it, it's like Amon-Ra St. Brown. If he had a twisted ankle and had a tough game, then you're not going to be like, he needed to be. You know what I mean?
Fair,
so I feel like
Graham Glasgow has proved he can fill in. It wasn't his best game. The other guys who filled. They didn't play horrible. It wasn't their best game.
Did you see? I saw a tweet that had like the last the 15 sacks given up the last couple games. That it had who was responsible for them. I believe it was like Taylor Decker, like 4 or 5, or
maybe 2 each of the last 2
more.
games.
Yeah, and then it was like Graham Glass got like 4 as well. So those 2 guys, they have been struggling a little bit. The running backs, hot or cold?
I'm going to go lukewarm. And actually, the only reason I'm not going to say hot is because of the drop passes, the 2 huge drop passes in the last 2 games. Other than that, I don't really blame them for the lack of run game. It's more the calls, some of the calls at the time, like that 4th and 4 where they did a little delay handoff to Jahmyr Gibbs, like running kind of to the outs. That didn't make any sense. I think if all the things are going right, like I couldn't be happier with where those 2 guys are at.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. You know what, too? I'm gonna go. I don't want to go hot.
Go hot.
I think like when you're just breaking down these temperature checks, the running backs they went away from them. They both were having great games, and they just let's go away from them. Let's go at other guy. Like let's 3 and out. So I almost want to say hot because of how they've played and what they've done for this team the last, even during these stretches. I will stick with lukewarm, but you kind of see where I'm going with this one.
I would have said hot if not for I'm just saying 2 plays, which is they're big plays, but it's only 2 in the last 2 games. That's my only reason I'm bringing them down. Everything else they've been fine.